All right. Hello and welcome. It's time for another edition of One on One. Let me just confirm that we're recording and everything's A OK. All right. I think we're good to go. It's about time for us to go live again. We're live on YouTube, live on Instagram, live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. In fact, anywhere you get your podcasts. My name is Titi Oyinsan. It's a pleasure being here with you one more time. And today's conversation is an interesting one. Now, from the intricate beadwork of the Maasai to the timeless textiles of the Yoruba, African crafts are more than just handmade treasures. They're a testament to culture, creativity, sustainability in a world that's increasingly turning to fast fashion and mass production. There's this growing movement to reconnect with heritage and support eco friendly, ethical practices. Welcome to One on One. Today, we're diving into the heart of this movement, exploring how African artisans are leading the charge towards sustainable living through their unique crafts with Francis Njoku. He is an award winning contemporary visual artist and the founder of UKRAFT. That's an e commerce platform for African crafts. He initially studied industrial physics. His entrepreneurial spirit led him to found Franque Fire, a fashion brand. Then, after that, a transformative fire incident, apparently, he embraced his artistic calling and established UKAMP Studio Initiative to promote art in his community. Recognizing the importance of craft, he founded UKRAFT. It's great to have you here with us. Hello, Francis.
Hello, Titilayo. Hello,
It's great
Titilayo.
to have you. It's great to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's great to be here. Thank you very much.
All right, you need to let us know how this all began, your journey. Tell us your story.
All right. From the humble city of Owerri, I was born to a family, first son, and eventually my grandmother used to, sell African craft. But I didn't see myself doing this. Growing up, I thought this is for the old women in the village. It used to be my grandmother's thing. But eventually, after 2017, something happened to me, and I went back to doing my art and started winning awards and, trying to find a way to cement the middle ground for visual expression in my city, Owerri. And it drove us to understanding that there could be people who are really facing challenges, and it fell on the crafters. And that was exactly how UCraft started. And we started planning UCraft, started, with sensitizing people on the importance of craft and sustainable living in their homes. And here we are today, 1 year, and we are still growing, trying to create a startup that will be an access point for unique African crafts in the global market. So that is it so far. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Titilayo. However, uh, my parents used to be very, very discouraging about my arts, when I was, much younger. But I went into studying the sciences. I went into studying, at a point, dropped out of school because I needed to make money, But, this whole art thing kept calling. And eventually, here you see us today, being a spearhead for a new kind of economy, the creative economy, try to make something out of it and tell my parents or tell the people that actually said this could not fetch a living, tell them that look, there could be a living here, and not just for me as the person, as the visionary, but for many other millions of Nigerians and Africans who actually might find this very interesting to embark on with me on the journey. Yeah, Owerri used to be a city where um, reverend a lot of arts until '94, and something happened, the Otokoto crisis, and a lot of sentiments began to come into the foreplay of creative psychology, which is art, and a lot of things started deteriorating, coupled with the bad economy we faced over time, and people really didn't see the need to reverend arts, culture, and some elements in social building. So art deteriorated so badly ever since then. Apart from Enugu State, who actually trying as much as possible to um, uplift and hold on to this cultural heritage, by the names they give their streets, and the sculptures around the city, and etc, and programs as well. Um, Apart from that, you realize that in places in the east where I grew up in were or little or nothing to the art scenery in the international market. And if you go down deep, you realize that it spreads across states in Nigeria where little or no emphasis are made on this creative livelihood, which is basically crafts. And if we speak of craft, we are just speaking about functional skills or functional art. And that is exactly
Mm,
how far we've been going on trying to,
mm.
promote what we are doing, and also create a base for sustainable living in Nigeria and Africa at large.
Thank you so much for such a detailed introduction. We had a bit of a disconnection there a little earlier on, but thankfully, the person speaking has really great information to share with us. For those that lost the connection earlier on, what I was sharing was the fact that we're here to talk about promoting African crafts and sustainable living. And of course, we have Mr. Francis Njoku here with us, the founder of UKRAFT. All right then. So I appreciate people with a journey, with a story, and when it comes to African crafts, it has become. How do I put this? Okay, how do you see African crafts as a representation of the continent's rich cultural heritage? What do you think can be done to promote greater global appreciation for these unique crafts? They are extremely unique, yes?
Yeah, I can agree with you that. Um, First of all, I was speaking with somebody a couple of days back, and the person, I told him that, do you know that in Nigeria or in Africa, you get into a place and you take a picture there, maybe send out, you might not be able to say this is where I am. You
Mm,
might not be able to create a visual story of where you are, you know.
sure.
And it's a thing taking over the whole world right now. There is lack of identity. There is a lack of um, self-awareness generally, social awareness, and something that keeps you or brings you close to humanity, and something that brings you close to the responsibility you have in your environment. And craft have a such way of bringing that awareness and consciousness from our homes to the streets to wherever you find yourself. And that's exactly what we are trying to do, bring in that consciousness that, look, I'm an African, look, I represent something very different and unique. This is my story, this is where I come from. First of all, that's exactly what we need to do. And secondly, try to create a sense of digital um, connection to this prehistoric. um,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
all right, all right, all right. Um,
Go ahead.
create some digital connection to these prehistoric activities or prehistoric skill, and present it to the world. The world is already digital, so
Mm.
what has been there, you add a digital flair to it and have the world come to it. So that's exactly what we're trying to do as well.
So it feels like a lofty idea. It feels like there's a lot involved. It feels like it's bigger than of course just one person. We have so much art, so much. Just walking down the street is art. Just take a picture of the average market, it's art. Just the way people dress, the way people even are the as deep as the tribal markings on our bodies is art. There's so
Yeah.
much about it. um there are a lot of ways that traditional African craftsmanship should be preserved. Um, what in your opinion could be the best way to preserve this art for younger generations to sort of lean towards, in the future, for them to actually have this art to appreciate?
First of all, create an accessibility to it. Make it everywhere. Make it look. Make it a statement. Make it something that um, is an in thing. All right. Trend it. Make it trend. And make it not impoverished. All right. Create a very strong heritage around it. Create a strong identity around it, and exactly what UKRAFT is trying to do by creating the visibility, making it more visible for people who everybody definitely appreciates something that does not cause them stress, and that's exactly what art does. Art crafts, helps you defunctionalize your daily activities, or um, the reduce the stress of your daily activity. That's exactly what the craft helps us do. So when we first of all get them to the faces of people and show people how important this is, they begin to embrace it, and you see that this becomes sustained, and people will tend to associate with it in different ways, even better than the ideas that come initially with them. So exactly what we are trying to do, to create this visibility of African craft. Tell them, look, we are here. They are very unique African crafts with very unique functionality, with very, very great stories behind them that are replicated, that can be resurrected, because some of the skills are going extinct, like the Akwete, Ashoke. This can create a lot of wealth for people who want to actually gain knowledge, education behind them, and create a new economy, like the creative economy is trying to do. So it's a huge work. It's a huge work, but so far we are, like I said, 1 year already, and we are not 3 years there, as a
Yeah.
startup. But 1 year it's been a huge milestone for us. I didn't believe that I would even take up on this journey. I didn't believe I would go ahead doing this, but here we are, and let's see more to come.
Yeah. Amazing work so far. Amazing work so far. I've heard a lot of great things. And I think there was even a video that was sent to me for me to view. I'll see if I can share that with you now. Let's see if I can play this video.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just me and going around into the markets. Like these are crafts, they already existing. They have their markets, here and there in West Africa, Nigeria, most places in the East Africa and South Africa. Um, we just go get these people to um, understand there are better ways to create visibility on these things. There are amazing ways, the platforms that are created for these things. We are trying to educate them. Last week Sunday, I think not this past Sunday, the Sunday 1 week ago, we had a class, online class on uh, um product photography, right? And we want to do more, not just the product photography. We've been talking about product description. Most of these crafts, what makes the Indian crafts amazing out there is because there is so much ethic to what they've already created. They've shown so much importance and value to these things, right? And
mm,
it's not far from what we are doing. There's so much importance to for example, the clay cooking pot. Clay cooking pot is an anti-cancer, for crying out loud. So there is a huge research done on these things, and the world is already aware. But Africa needs to, say we are here, and that's exactly what UKRAFT is trying to do. Help the crafters say we are here, tell their stories, bring out
mm.
the ethic values behind these crafts.
So now we've already mentioned one of the things I wanted to discuss because we are talking about sustainable living. We're talking about conservation, environmental conservation. Um, how exactly, you've already mentioned the clay pot, obviously, but how exactly can African crafts support sustainable living? A lot of people have been given this gift, maybe some skills that have been passed down from their grandfathers, their fathers, their mothers. They have these skills because they were there when they saw their parents doing it. And if you have a story or two of a particular family who are making a living off this, let us know.
A lot of them. I come from a line of crafts dealer, right? My grandmother trained her children with, the crafts sales. She sells crafts for a living. So basically, I saw my grandmother do it, right? But
Mm,
she didn't do it with the framework we are trying to, you know, put into it. But it's an inspiration, right? And back to the question of sustainability, which is primarily what motivated me to, go ahead and, man, take this message to everybody. When I had an incident in 2017, this is a story for another day, and it inspired me to start afresh in life. All right, I started back with my art. I started planting in my house. I started planting, owning a garden, my little garden space. It was a safe haven for me, right? And every home, every average Nigerian home today can actually do the same.
mm,
The reason why we cloud ourselves as poverty countries because we don't produce anything. And part of production is um, planting your own tree, planting your own garden, planting your own
sure.
food. So when food is scattered for you've already catered for a singular part of craft that actually is very essential. Then we now talk about housing, which is another form of craft, and some other complex forms like clothing and the rest of them. So sustainability can be narrowed down from this basic aspect, to as much as um, instead of buying the Gucci chair that costs you 1 million plus, you can just get something with the oak wood and it's still beautiful. Now, also educating these crafters that while you're felling the trees from Sapele, you're felling the trees from
Mm,
Bayelsa and some of these rainforests. Do you think about exercises that could help us replant these trees? Now, when these crafts do it together, it makes more sense. When the crafters come together in Africa and say, let's do it because we have been benefiting from this, it makes more sense. So that's exactly what UKRAFT is trying to spearhead. The U1000 is basically to sensitize about 1,000 crafters and crafts, onboard them to our e-commerce store, which is going to be launching soon, and get people to um, get accustomed to the crafting business, the crafting idea, and how it works, right?
mm.
Because there are already key players in the world. Etsy, Amazon Handmade, they are already major key players, Indie Made, and even Bella Africana. So, but we want to do something differently. We want to not just only um, create a platform where African craft are sold, but just to empower people about sustainable living, give them the knowledge about sustainable living in Africa.
I need to ask you now because it is we're living in a time where people are concerned about almost immediate microwavable profits and eating actual food. And if, for instance, you think of the average family who has maybe one or two children and they're trying to, keep themselves alive, they're sending their young ones out to fend for themselves. They're sending them out to, to hawk products on the streets. There's a large percentage of people who would think of these crafts as, in quote, a waste of time. And the reason why I come from this angle is because of how sustainable it could be, to push this to the average trader. Now, you did approach in the video we saw earlier on. You did approach a trader who, of course, had the opportunity to join your platform. You need to tell us a bit about here after this conversation with this trader. Did he come on board? Did he see the value? Did he understand the platform the way you were trying to share it?
Yeah. First of all, I would say this is not something that would be easy. And why I keep celebrating 1 year is because I told you I didn't believe I would keep doing this, because sometimes I moved from Owerri to Lagos. That was the first move that I thought would be impossible. All right.
Mm,
I'm in love with Imo State. I'm in love with my state. But I saw the importance, because this is the hub for the world, like for West Africa. Lagos is like
mm,
the intersection point. And this is where most of these crafters are. And the challenges has been sometimes the language barrier. I
mm,
sometimes go with someone who is going to interpret to these guys who from Niger, Chad,
mm.
from different parts of the world.
Sure.
That's one challenge. And they agree with me in everything I say. I see the sincerity when they agree, but most of them can't come online and do restream like we are doing. We
Yeah.
attend meetings online, make it easier for us and all that. Most of them can't do that. Not
Mm,
because they don't have a smartphone or they can't afford a smartphone, or it's because they've not seen a more it doesn't drive them. For
mm.
example, if there is a program where they can be invited, or we take a program to them, they will attend. They
Yeah.
will definitely attend. Yeah,
They'll
because
show up.
they're eager to sell their crafts. And
Yeah.
who says African this are not sustainable? You want the
Mm,
immediate need. It's just like someone who is selling a plastic chair. It sells every day. That's why they are selling it. Now, but people
mm.
have found out the people have seen an alternative need which is available, right,
Okay.
for them to invest in and
Mm.
get to use. So
Sure.
why can't we still do the same for the local crafts? We can
Mm.
make them available, accessible, then people get to buy them. It creates an alternative need as well, and preference. So that's exactly what we are trying to do with them.
So this is obviously a huge project, and we've already talked a bit about challenges. But then I know that international markets, international investors might have also noted these challenges as well, which is probably why there hasn't been such a focus. I could be wrong. There hasn't been so much of a focus of building such markets, like the way you are trying to build them. It feels like maybe possibly people have tried it before and it hasn't worked because of this language barrier, because of the cultural barrier, and maybe even just, as I said in the first question, sustainability. Um, but the international market and demand for our crafts, what is it looking like right now, today? What sort of demand is there for African crafts?
Now, surprisingly, I was expecting these questions initially.
Oh,
Actually,
okay,
the
okay.
the global market, the African or the crafts global market, handicraft as it is called,
Mm,
is over
yeah.
$680 billion large.
Wow.
That's how
Wow.
huge this market is. And it's
Wow.
been fluctuating between 700 and 680 billion for the past 2000 and since 2021, right? And coming down, it was calculated to be increasing at 9.8%. By what I mean by 9.8% is 9%, 8% of 700 billion plus will be adding every year annually till 2030. So we're looking at $1 trillion market. So
Hmm.
who is buying what? Like there's a market already existing for it. What we need to do is to say, we are here, we are a new option. That is exactly what the craft market in Africa needs to do. We need to tell the world, look, we are here, we are a new option. The world needs to see our availability, right? So when we find, because already Africa, we can see how unique we are by seeing this beautiful craft. You need to go see the markets, the physical market, and see how beautiful
Yeah,
these crafts are.
beautiful. I've been
By
I've been to
seeing
the
how
Lekki art.
beautiful,
I've been to the Lekki art
exactly,
market now,
exactly,
and I can tell
exactly.
you it is a sight to behold. It is, um, it's amazing.
It,
I'm
it's something, Titi, that we have
there's something for
to.
everyone. There's something for everyone. There's from clothing to shoes to accessories to wallets to even laptop covers with leather and beautiful
And
carvings
now,
with
Titi,
amazing.
and now, Titi, you know,
Yeah.
there's something there's something I heard today. I think, was it one of these leaders we are talking about on X, Twitter,
Mm,
right?
mm,
This the level of consumerism in Nigeria is not measured. I think it's Aliko Dangote. He was saying something about the level of consumerism in Nigeria. He was emphasizing on the petroleum, and what the step he took on Dangote has inspired for the next 10 years for
yeah.
petroleum in Nigeria. And I think it's a wonderful thing. Now, what we are trying to do here is to tell people, look, you don't have to own the Gucci, the Prada. If you can't afford them, there are other options, very beautiful and unique options from Africa. Now, when we get to use them, we are not just
Durable.
durable.
Durable option.
We are not
Yeah.
just doing good
Yes.
we are not just doing good for the crafters. We are doing good for ourselves. We are preserving some part of us that the world recognizes. The world says, kudos, you are an African. We love Africa because you are Africa. You dress African,
Honestly.
and
Sure.
that's exactly what we are trying to inspire. That's what we are trying to do. And the next phase of UKRAFT, which is very futuristic, is where we try to collaborate with EVs, um, creating EV stations, because we
Mhm.
want our hubs, our pickup outlets to serve local markets, to serve local neighborhoods. I could send you, maybe subsequently send you, models of these things so that you could look at them and see. Um, where electric cars are going to be charging, they could charge in a charging station in the market. They are futuristic. It's going to happen
Yeah.
soon in Nigeria. Now, they're charging.
It's already happening. There's even a particular bank that already has it in front of their office
Exactly,
on
just like
Adolo
fuel
Deku. It's
stations. Just
already
like
there.
fuel stations, they're going to be. Then now,
Exactly.
inside these places, instead of having a grocery store, you can have a craft store. And UKRAFT can have a pickup point there. You can make your orders there. These are the ideas we are bringing in, right? And creating this sustainable flair in the environment, creating this environment where uh, looks friendly, human friendly,
Mm.
flowers and trees, painted environment.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we're trying to do. It's not cost effective, so expensive to accomplish. It's something very, 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 very accomplishable. I tried it and it worked for me, my family, my neighborhood, and I'm trying to do it for the entire Africa, to see that we can have a new urban Africa, an urban Africa that I saw in one of my best movies, Waju. I love that movie so much. Yes,
Oh,
I love that
what?
animation so
Yeah.
much. Waju. I saw that and it
Yeah.
was more like these people are trying to say what I have in heart for Africa. It is very possible and it's achievable.
So Iwaju actually means future.
Future,
Iwaju, or in Yoruba it's Ojo. Yes, the days in front of us.
exactly.
That's the name of that movie, and it was very futuristic, and I can see how much passion you have for this particular project, and I can already feel how much effort you've put into this. I feel like it's just one step away from going huge, and I know you're going in the right direction. Is there an e-commerce platform in mind, like an e-marketplace in
Yeah, we are
mind?
creating something. The UKRAFT store. First of all, it's going to be coming up as a
Okay.
website. Um, we are like
Okay.
onboarding 1,000 people, the youth 1,000. That's we're looking at that before the end of the year. Then the site is
Okay.
already.
So if you are someone that has crafts or you've created things, you don't have to have a market
No, we
shop.
don't.
It's just that you can create them in your home, you can create them
Yeah,
anywhere.
the crafts are already available. Now we are creating accessibility
Mm,
to them. They are already there. If you go to
okay.
the Lekki craft market, like you mentioned, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
at Maryland, they are
Yeah.
everywhere. Now, what
The basket,
exactly?
cane,
And our
the
counterpart
cane market.
players from Ghana as well are making opts. Like people are already opting from Ghana. I have someone from Zambia.
Osu,
Yeah,
Osu,
craft markets, huge craft market.
Osu in Ghana, Accra.
Yes, Accra.
Yeah.
So we are already
Yeah.
creating a welcome, come on board, and it's totally free. We are just totally come on board, bring in your crafts. Let's sell them for you. Let's push them for you. Now that's where the challenges might come. Pushing it out there. There are a lot of publicity to be done. There's a lot of promotions to be done.
Mm,
We need to do a lot of
sure.
physical a lot, but I think one step at a time, like you mentioned. First of all, get people on board, and see it from there.
Mm. Now, I can't believe it. 30 minutes has already gone by, but it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. There's, of course, so many conversations we still need to have as this project gets bigger and bigger. We're always open to having this conversation with you. Show us what the interface looks like, what the platform looks like. Show us how to register, how to get our friends and colleagues on board. I have a daughter. Beautiful, beautiful crochet is something that has to be groomed from younger. And I feel like other parents would groom their kids more if they saw a viable market for these things. The same way they see a viable market for young footballers. The same way they see artists. Now, the creative artists, creative arts, and the industry through UKRAFT projects and platforms like yourself needs to blossom and grow. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you,
Francis.
Titilayo. Thank you, Titilayo. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. So, if we need to connect with you, we can connect with you via LinkedIn, I believe. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. Same name, Francis Njoku UKRAFT on LinkedIn. If you have any questions for him, I'm sure he'll be available to respond to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So there you heard it. UKRAFT unites Africa through craft. An amazing project. It's a lofty, lofty dream, but it is one that is right there in our grasp. And I say our grasp because I feel so inspired by all his efforts, trying to make sure that he gets African crafts on the map in a sustainable way. And it has been all about sustainable ways to well, African crafts creating sustainable living, which in the end, these handcrafts have been passed on from generation to generation and they deserve to be preserved. But then those who are creating these things also deserve to earn from them even more than they're earning right now. We had with us the passionate gentleman himself, Mr. Francis Njoku, an award-winning contemporary visual artist and founder of UKRAFT, which is an e-commerce platform for African crafts. It's been a pleasure being your host once again. If you would like to be on one-on-one sometime soon, hey, it's as easy as sending us an email, dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. That's dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. As soon as you send us that email, we will get back to you. Until I come your way next time, once again, my name is Titi.